This is the May 2023 paper for Unit 2 CSMI for BTEC Information Technology. It's part B of the paper, and in this video I'm going to be covering the second form in Activity 6. Let's just have a quick recap on the scenario. Heatherburn Caravan Park has partially developed a database that will eventually merge with the database you created in Part A. The park has 50 pitches. A pitch is assigned to a caravan owner. There are 3 different pitch positions. Riverside, the pitch overlooks the river. Woodside, the pitch overlooks the wood. Central, the pitch does not overlook the river or the wood. Owners have to pay a site fee and a council fee each year. The site fee depends on the pitch position. Riverside, the basic site fee plus 5%. Woodside, the basic site fee plus 2%. And Central, the basic site fee. Owners also purchase key fobs. A key fob is needed to operate the car barrier. Owners must purchase between 1 and 3 key fobs. Now, when we're looking at this scenario for for the Form B, there's some information that we've already dealt with. For example, this about the key fobs we dealt with in the first form that we created. And then the most important thing is these percentages, I think, as sort of background information. Now let's have a look at the detail of the task for Form B. An input form to analyse the effect of an increase of fees. So the form must not include validation for any fields. The form must not include any automated routine to save the data. When the form opens, this information must be automatically displayed in fields: the highest year ID, the basic site fee, the council fee, the next year ID, which should be 1 higher than the current highest year ID. The user must then be able to input into fields the amount of the increase, e.g. £200 to be added to the basic site fee and the new council fee. The new basic site fee must then be calculated and displayed in a field. There must be a combo box in order to select the pitch position. Once the user has selected a pitch position, the yearly site fee adjustment percentage, i.e. 5, must be displayed in a field. These details must then be calculated and displayed in fields for the position selected: the new site fee, the new total fees. And you're going to evidence this interface using screen prints on the Activity 6 template, which is provided in the exam. And just finally, make sure you complete the template correctly. You'll need screen prints showing the design view and the form view for both your forms, and maybe a datasheet view if you've done any queries, for example. And make sure you save this template, Activity 6 template, using the correct naming, i.e. Activity 6 _ registration number _ surname _ first letter of first name. Now, you are advised to spend 1 hour 10 minutes on this activity. That's not a long time. The first form, Form A, you should get through pretty quickly. But this second form, which will be more complex, probably involve the use of some functions, i.e. DMax, DMin, DLookup. Calculations, for example, will take you longer. So I would advise get the first form done out of your 1 hour 10 minutes. Create the second form. Do as much of it as you can. Hopefully you'll be able to complete it. And then after your 1 hour 10 minutes, move on to the testing and then move on to the evaluation. Similar to Part A, as in keep moving forward. You will get some marks from your testing and your evaluation if you do them. If you don't do them, you'll probably lose some marks. Let's just have a look at the finished thing before we actually start creating one. You'll see here I've used the same formatting that I used in the report in Part A. Simple, straightforward formatting, use of colour. Keep it simple, keep it looking professional. So we've got a good title here, fee increase analysis form, and then some instructions to the user where data input is required. So I do put on red asterisk where the user is required to enter data. And I've broken the form up into 3 distinct areas which link to the 3 main areas listed in the task. So the first part of the form is when the form opens, this information must be automatically displayed in fields. So we've got the highest year ID, current year ID, the basic fee site, the council fee and the next year ID. And then in the middle part of the form, I've got the place where the user is able to input into fields the basic site fee increase and the new council fee. And then the bottom part of the form is where the user will be able to select the position ID using a combo box. It displays the early site fee adjustment depending on what's selected in the position box. It works out the new site fee and the total fee. You'll notice those fields where input's not required from the user, I have disabled these, and these is why they are greyed out. So I've gone on to create and select at form design. We're not using the wizard for this because we're not connecting our form to a particular table. And I've put on the title, fee increase analysis form, and then in red the instructions to the user. And I've just put on 4 text box controls for the current year ID, the council fee, the next year ID and the basic fee. So let's start putting this, getting the first current year ID. We're going to get that from TBL fee, and also as I go along I'm going to name these controls as well, because we're going to refer to them later on when we're doing the calculations. So for this current year ID, I've named this control TXT highest year ID. And in the control, I've entered a DMax. Let's just have a look at this in a bit more detail. So it's equals DMax, open bracket, and then in quotes, year ID. That's the field that we want to look in, close quotes, comma, open quotes, TBL fee, close quotes, close bracket. So the second part of the DMax is the table that we're telling it to go and look in. And so that DMax will find the highest year ID in TBL fee. The next year ID, I've named TXT next year ID. And in this control, I have put a calculation. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. So I've just said equals TXT highest year ID. That's that control there. Plus 1, so it just adds 1 to it to get the next year. Next is the council fee control, and this one I've called TXT council fee, and it contains a DLookup. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. So we've got DLookup, open bracket, in quotes, council fee. So that's the field that we want to look in, comma, and then in quotes TBL fee, that's the table that we want it to search. So basically we want it to look in the council fee field of TBL fee, then a comma, then open quotes, year ID equals TXT highest year ID. So what that's going to do is look whatever's in TXT highest year ID, that's that one there, and it's going to go and match that with year ID in TBL fee, and when it's found that, it'll return the council fee for that year. And then its final control in this top part of the form is the basic site fee, and I've named this TXT basic site fee. It's got a DLookup. Let's go and have a look at this. So DLookup, in quotes, basic site fee, that's the field, comma, open quotes, table fee, TBL fee, close quotes. So it's saying, look in the field basic fee of table fee, comma, open quotes, year ID equals TXT, highest year ID, close quotes, close bracket. So that last part, it will look at whatever's in TXT, highest year ID, that's that one, and it will match with year ID in TBL fee. When it's found that match, it will return the basic site fee. Next, I'm going to put on two controls for the new basic site fee and the new council fee. Now we're in the bottom part of the form. The first control I'm going to put on is the combo box to be able to select the position ID. I've labelled the combo box TXT position ID, and we need to create some data to appear in the combo box, and we're going to do that using row source. If we look at this position ID combo box in form view, you can see we've only got the primary keys displayed, and that's because we're just displaying the first column of that query. So I'm going to format this combo box not to display the primary key, but to actually display the position name, and that's in column 2. So I'm going to change the column count to 2. And the column widths I'm going to set at 0 and 5 centimetres. And that won't display the first column, but will give 5 centimetres to the second column. And here back in form view, you can see now that this position ID, when I click on it, just displays the names of the positions. The other thing we need to do with this position ID is put a requery. That means every time there is a change to this combo box, the query will automatically update. We do this by build event, macro builder, and requery. Next, I'll put on a text box, and in that we will put in a DLookup to find the site fee adjustment percentage from TBL position. So I've named the control yearly site fee adjustment percentage, TXT, yearly site fee ADJ, and in the control source I've put up a DLookup. Let's just have a look at that in a bit more detail. We've got equals DLookup, open bracket, open quote, yearly site fee adjustment. That's the field in TBL position that we want to find. then a close quote, close comma, open quote, TBL position, so that's telling it the table that we want it to look in, close quote, then a comma, open quote, TXT position ID, so whatever's in TXT position ID, that's that control there, I want it to match with position ID in TBL position, close quote, close bracket. So when it's made that match in the table with whatever's in TXT position ID, it will return that yearly site fee adjustment. And in the form here, let's just check, Woodside was 2. If we select Central, that should be 0. And if we select Riverside, that should be 5. So that's working fine. Now, first time I did this, it came up with an error, and it was because I hadn't named this control correctly. I'd made a spelling mistake. So just make sure you're very careful with your spelling and use of these control names, otherwise it will come up with an error. Next, I'll put on the control to work out the new site fee. The new site fee is worked out by adding the basic site fee to the basic fee increase, and then multiplying that and adding on 5%. In this case, if it's the Riverside, so it's the percentage that's in this yearly site fee adjustment here. But before I actually carry out this calculation, I need to name this basic fee increase control, and I'll name the new council fee control as well, because I will be referring to those in the calculations. So the basic fee increase control, I've named TXT, basic fee increase, and the new council fee control, I've named TXT, new council fee. And in this control, I've put in the calculation to work out the new site fee. Let's have a look at that in a bit more detail. So we've got equals, open bracket, TXT, basic site fee, which is this one here. And we've added to that TXT, basic fee increase. And I put brackets around that because I want to work that out first. Then we've multiplied that by TXT, yearly site fee adjustment. That's that control there. Divided that by 100, that will give us 5%, and then plus 1, because I want to add that 5% on to that original amount that we're finding 5% of. So that calculation will do that automatically. So here we are in form view, and you can see now it's got that new site fee, which was the basic fee increase 100, plus the basic site fee 2251. We've added 5% to that, and this is the amount. I'll show you the calculations at the end when I'm checking the whole form. Now we need to add the final control, which is the total fee. And the total new fee is worked out by adding the new site fee to the council fee. In the control source for this control, I put a calculation in to work out the new total fee. Let's have a look at that in detail. So we've got equals TXT, new site fee, that's that control there, plus TXT, new council fee, that's that control there, and that will work out that total new fee. Just tidied up the form now by formatting, putting on the lines. I've made the controls which have money in to be currency and display with no decimal places. I just need to make sure I disable the controls that the user is not going to enter any data, and put on the asterisk to indicate where the user needs to input data. And just finally, I've done some calculations manually just to make sure this form is working correctly. So I said the current year 2023, and just show you where I got that from. Here's the table, and 2023 is the highest year. The next year is 2024. That's 2023 plus 1, so that's correct. And the council fees for that 2023 are 255, and the basic fee is 2251. Again, just show you where I got those from. So this is TBL fee 255 and 2251. I've then entered a basic fee increase of £100 and the new council fee of £300, and I said I would use the position ID Riverside. Now if I use Riverside, that will bring me back the yearly site fee adjustment of 5%, and here's where I got that from TBL position. And then it works out the new site fee. So the new site fee takes the basic fee, 2251, adds to that the basic fee increase, 100, and then it finds 5% of that using the control here, the early site fee adjustment, divides that by 100 and adds 1 and multiplies that onto that basic fee increase plus basic site fee. The new total fee is 2769, and that's worked out by adding the new site fee 2469 to £300. So I've just checked manually my calculations to make sure everything's correct, and then of course you can always use these figures in your testing for the next activity. So it's a good idea to jot these down, take a pen with you to the exam, jot them down on a blank page in your exam paper. You can refer to them later on. Just before I finish this video, let's just have a quick look at Activity 6 template completed. So the first part is about the input form, and you need to add a screen print of form view. There we have it. Then add a screen print in design view. And then show any code or macros that you've used in that form. In my case, I did a macro, you might have done code. You need to make sure that the examiner can see absolutely everything in either your macro or your code. And then input form B, again in form view. And then a screen print in design view. And then the next bit, again, we need to show any code or macros that we've used. So I've made sure the examiner knows exactly what is in each control on my form. So if I've got a control with either a calculation in or a D function, I've shown the name of the control and the content of that control. So for each one of those, I've done a little screen print. For the drop-down combo box, I've shown the row source, where the data's coming from. I've also shown that little macro to do the requery. And then further down, we've actually got the final controls. So that completes Activity 6 now. And the next activity will be covered is Activity 7, which is the testing of the forms.